So in this video, I'm going to tell you my top tips for checking in. Then I'm going to show you what the food looks like and what the seats look like. And then finally, I'm going to give you my review and if I think it's worth it. All right, so let's talk about checking in for the dessert party. It is done twice a night usually. There's a World of Color show, and our show that we were going to was at 10:15. So that meant that at 9:15, our email said we should be at check-in at 9:15. Now they tell you it's a little confusing, so this is why I wanted to explain it. At the top of the email, it says to meet, it says check in at least 1 hour prior to the World of Color show at the World of Color preferred viewing area at Paradise Gardens Park. So that's like where you're actually going to sit. But if you look a little bit further down in your email, it actually clarifies that you should arrive at the reservation time and check in at the Eureka Water Wheel near the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail. And that's actually where the check-in is. So we walked over to the fireworks spot at first, but really we should have walked over to where the Eureka Water Wheel is, which is like near the Grizzly River Run and the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail. So you just like walk up the path, it's right there, and that's where you check in. So they want you to be there an hour before the firework, the show starts. For us, it was 9:15. But we actually got there a little early, and I think that would be what I would recommend doing. We got there a little before 9. It was probably about 20 minutes before the arrival time they told us to be. And then what was nice with that is they gave us a wristband, and then we just needed to like be nearby or just make sure we were back there. They gave us a time to be back. We got back around 9:30. And then we started walking over to the area around 9:40. They started walking us in a line over to where we would be sitting. So you do have some downtime. So check in first, then go to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do, and just make sure you're back there at the spot in time for you to walk over to your seats. We actually had a lightning lane for Incredicoaster, and we were trying to decide, do we go do that quick and then check in, but then we'll be late probably, or do we go do the check-in first and then see if we can run over there? And that's what we ended up doing, and it worked out much better, the fact that we went and checked in first and then went over and did Incredicoaster. So then we got back, they had everybody lined up, they walked us over to our seats. The nice thing about checking in early is that you get more say in where you want your spot to be. So we were like the second people to check in. So they asked us, do you prefer a high tabletop, or do you prefer like a regular one? And they assigned our seat number and everything. So that's what's important, is they'll assign you your seat and everything at that point. And then when you come back and you're lined up and you're walking there, they already know what spot you're getting to. So I think checking in early doesn't hurt, although I'm sure all the seats, they looked pretty good. So once you move your way over to the check-in area, that was about 30 minutes before the show started. And we sat there and they got us our food, and they also asked us for drinks. They even brought around hot chocolate and just made sure everybody was set up for the show. So at that point, you have food and drinks, so that makes it nice, and the 30-minute wait went really fast. Now, for the food, they give you a tray, and actually Miles had a separate tray that they'd labeled for his allergies, and although for him, all of the food was fine for his allergies. So he actually got like the same food as us, but it just was in a tray labeled for him, so we knew they'd already checked all of that. But it ended up being the same food because his allergies were not a problem for the foods that we were being served. I thought the food selection was great. We've done other dessert parties before, and sometimes they don't really have savory items. Our favorite part of the food was the cheese and the crackers and the grapes. I don't know, we ate all of those. You know, the other treats, the cookies and stuff, were good. They weren't like the best thing I've ever had. I don't think you're buying the World of Color dessert party for the food necessarily. We'll talk about that more at the end with if it's worth it. But it does have savory and sweet, and then it does have a number of drinks, and if you're over the age of 21, you'll have an alcoholic beverage if you want. We didn't try the alcoholic beverages, but they have the non-alcoholic and the alcoholic, and Miles got like a fun drink. So they do have drinks and food and like hot chocolate and stuff. So a whole range of things that you'll get. Now for the seats, I actually was really happy. I think you could get good viewing other ways, but this is just prime right in the center. And I think the main benefit is that you have a seat, right? So for World of Color, usually everyone does have to stand throughout the whole show. So the benefit is not only do you have a good spot to view it, but you also get to sit the whole time. And by the end of the night, I just love that. And I also like knowing that someone's not going to stand in front of me and try to put kids on their shoulder or something. Also, if you're using in World of Color, we've stood near the front before. I mean, this was years ago, but we actually got decently wet if you're really close to the front at the World of Color show. So I think depending on where you sit or stand, you can get wet. We did not get wet where we were. And now for my review and if I think it's worth it. So first of all, the World of Color dessert party costs $89 a person. And our kids are basically at adult age anyways, but it is the same for everybody. It doesn't matter if it's a kid, it's still $89 a person. So it does add up for our family. Since we were going to Disneyland and we don't know when we'll be back, we don't go there all the time, I felt like it was worth it. The stress of figuring out where I'm going to stand, I don't know if I just get overly stressed about this. I know I could have done the virtual queue and gotten a pretty good spot, but not having to stand, and then the fact that it was so easy, I didn't have to worry about it, and we got food and we got to sit, I really felt like it was worth it. We've done some dessert parties at Disney World, and I did not think they were worth it. I've done the one where you sit in the grass, and that one's great, a great view, but I didn't like the food as much, and you didn't get an actual seat assigned to you. So it was very stressful for me. We went into this big grassy area. I thought we had a good spot. Then the show starts, everybody moves up to the front. I like lose my spot, and so I don't know, it just didn't really save me the relaxation. I have spots for fireworks that I know have good spots. You know, I know what it is. I know where to go at Disney World. And so I felt like, you know, I'm not going to do this dessert party again for Disney World because it didn't save me the stress. I felt like the whole thing is to save me stress. This one, it was very easy, very relaxing. They had good food and they had the seats, and it was assigned to a table. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. At Disney World for Magic Kingdom, you either need to decide, do I want to sit in the grass so I have a good view, or do I want to sit at the tables, but then it's not as good a view? This is kind of the best of both worlds. So I feel like that's why whenever I looked up reviews of this, I saw that a lot of people thought it was worth it, and I do agree with them. I think that if we went back, I would consider going again. And I think for our dessert parties, that says a lot, because a lot of times for dessert parties, I feel like it's kind of a one and done. You do it as a special thing. But I would recommend it. I would not hesitate to recommend the dessert party to people. It is a lot of money. So if you don't want to splurge on it and you're fine just getting like the preferred viewing and doing the virtual queue, that works great. But if you're up for spending the extra money, I do think it is a great option. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, you might want to check out the rest of our Disneyland playlist. And I hope you'll like this video and also subscribe for more Disney content. Thanks!